Hello grade 12s, welcome to Life Science, and today we're going to have a look at genetics and inheritance. Right, so let's crack on. We always start, the first part of this whole thing, we need to know definitions. You know, the definitions in this part, if you understand your definitions, then of course you're going to get it and it's going to make so much sense. Okay, so let's have a look. I've got a couple of words here for you. First one, let's get a color going here. First one, gene. Then I want you to have a look at locus, allele, okay? Next one, genetic variation. I want you to have a look at haploid. We're going to use that a lot. And I want you to have a look at diploid. Right, so there's 6 words. Let me just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's it. There's six words for you. I'm going to give you 2 minutes, right? Let's see what you know. In actual fact, there's 6. So let's give you 3 minutes. Give me everything you've got. Ready? Off you go. Welcome again. Right, now, I know that you've put everything into this. Please remember that this whole thing here, okay, I need you to understand this. This is what you are. This is how you became you, right? This is mom and dad making you. This is a fantastic section. I love this section. So let's have a look. I've given you some of the terminology. So the first one we had a look at was gene, right? And that's a unit of hereditary which is transferred from a parent to an offspring, and it holds certain determined, it gives you certain characteristics, right, of that offspring. So for example, like blonde hair and blonde hair, right? All of those things together, why do you have blonde hair? Why do you have green eyes? That type of thing. This is what genetics is. Right, the next one that I gave you was locus. Okay, now we use this just so that you understand it, and I'm going to explain it as we're going around. right? This the exact position or location of a gene on a chromosome. Now, I don't know if you remember the chromosome. If we have a look, let's say your chromosome looks like that, right? Roundabout. Now, I'm only going to do a few. Okay? I'm not going to do too many. I'm just going to do a little bit of them. Okay? But let's say each line, if I look here, each line is a specific thing. So here I've got a couple of them. Okay? Now, in this area that I'm going to cover in blue, that piece there, let's say that is your hair color, right? And this one here is your eye color. Okay? Can you understand? This one over here is your skin color. And this one over here is the size of your foot, right? So that is the locus. The locus is where the specific thing is. So I can say to you, if you're looking at me now, right? If I can say to you, your hair color is found on chromosome number 21 and is found, which is not, but anyway, it's found on number 21 and it's locus 47. Okay, it means it's the 47th trait. Okay, so that's what locus means. It's a specific location of a gene on a chromosome. Okay, cool. Let's have a look at the next one. Right, the next one is alleles. And this is a pair of genes that are located on the same position on each of the two homologous chromosomes and represent a specific trait. One from your father and one from your mother. Okay, so now if you have a look at it, you got eye colors from your mom and you got eye color from your dad. Okay, now you must understand both are eye color, both are found on a specific locus, okay, and they're both for the same trait. So they're both for eye color, both found on chromosome number, let's say 30, no, I'm lying, yeah, let's say number 10, right? And they both the 74th trait. Okay, I'm just making numbers up here as we're going along. I'm just trying to show you that that is what an allele is. It is a pair of genes, so in other words, it's eye color from your mom, eye color from your dad. Right, so that's what it is. These are quite cool. Next one is genetic variation, and it's the variation in a gene sequence in genomes. Okay, now what that is variation. You know how when a baby's born, they always say, or even when you're walking around and they look at you and they go, you got your mother's eyes, but you got your father's ears. Right? So that is variation. It means that you don't look completely like your mom. You got a bit of your mom, you got a bit of your dad, you got a bit of your gran that your mother and father don't have. Right? That is a variation. That's why we are so different, because we have a bit of everybody in our family almost. Right? How genes get passed on. And that's what's so special about this section that we're doing. It's about different things and how you became you. Right? And how to find that out. Next one that we looked at is haploid, and this is the one that you already know because we've done this before. Okay, when we did our meiosis and mitosis and all of that, right? We had a look at this. First, haploid contains a single set of unpaired chromosomes. In other words, you can't say either from your mom or from your dad, but instead of having eye color from your mom and eye color from your dad, you've only got one. Okay, so you've only got eye color from your mom, or you've only got eye color from the dad. Okay, so before, when you get your egg, remember, your mom has made an egg, and in there, there's one trait, one eye color. Then your father's got the sperm, there's one trait, eye color. They come together and they make two traits. And when they come together and create two traits, it becomes the very next word, which is diploid. And here it is, a nucleus that contains a complete set of chromosomes. Okay, it's a complete set of chromosomes. And if I have a look at that, I've drawn over your words. So how are you going to see that? Okay, it contains a complete set of chromosomes. Okay, now every single cell in your body has got two sets of chromosomes. In other words, it is diploid. Haploid, half the amount of chromosomes. That is only in sex cells. Remember that. Cool. Let's have a look at the next one quickly. Couple words for you again. Here we go. Homozygous is the first one. Heterozygous, explain them. Dominant trait, recessive trait, genotype and phenotype. And of course, I'm going to give you 3 minutes again. Let's see, it's 2, 4, 6, 6 again. I'm going to give you 3 minutes again. Give me everything you've got. Off you go. Well, I know that you're working hard on this. Let's have a look at this quickly. And I know that from the working hard, you need a break. But let me go through these and then we can take it from there. Right. First one, homologous. Now, homo means the same. Okay? So homologous means it's two alleles or a pair of genes that have the same trait. In other words, if it's two alleles, it means the same, means let's say green eyes and green eyes. So you got green eyes from your mom and green eyes from your dad, right? That's homologous. Okay, that's homozygous, homozygous. Green eyes from your mom, green eyes from your dad. Cool. So both are green. Homo, the same. And if we have a look at the next one, it says heterozygous. Hetero means different. Okay, so the best thing, if we have a look at, it says two alleles of pair of genes are different for a trait. So in other words, let's have a look at this. You guys, everybody there, are Homo sapiens. We're the same, Homo sapiens, okay? And also, you are, let's see, you heterosexual. Okay, so you are different. Heterosexual, man, woman. Okay, that is, hetero means different. So you'll get green eyes from your mom and blue eyes from your dad. They're two different. They're both eyes, but they're different colors. Okay, that's homozygous and heterozygous. Next one, dominant. And we all know this. Dominant trait means the strong one, right? Now, if we look at it, heterozygous offspring will display a dominant trait because it will be dominated over the recessive gene of the pair of alleles. So if I have a look at it, the best way I can always think of it is if I took two colors, right? And I had to take a black and a white, right? And I put black behind white. Black's going to see through. You're going to see the black. If I put black in front of white, you're going to see black. No matter how you put it, you're going to see the black. It's dominant. It always shows you, right? Always does. If you have a look at it, if you draw on a black cardboard with white, the black still comes through. You can see it. So it's a dominant color in this case. It's just happening. It dominates it. It masks it. It means that the black is there, but the recessive trait, the white one, is behind it, even though you don't see it. So you could have brown eyes, but behind the brown eyes that you cannot see, you've got your recessive trait, for example, blue eyes. Right, and then of course, I also put down here your recessive trait, and your recessive, the recessive allele is a trait that is dominated over by the dominant gene. It is written with a small letter, okay? It is always written with a small letter. So if I had to look at it and say a dominant trait, let's say blue eyes, and I'm going to lie, let's say blue eyes is dominant over brown eyes, okay? So then I would say, no, let's not use eyes because it's the same color. Let's use black and white, as I was saying, okay? Then I would say a big B will be for the dominant black, and a small b will be for the recessive white. Have you noticed how I use both B? I always use the dominance letter. Okay, don't forget it. Always use the dominance letter. Okay. Next one we're having a look at genotype. Now the best way I can think of this is, well, before I read over that, I'm going to look at geno and pheno. It makes it easier. Geno, pheno. Pheno, physical features. Okay, geno, you know your genes that you've got? You always say, I've got good genes, right? Geno is something that's inside you that you cannot see. Okay, pheno is your physical features. So let's have a look at geno. Geno is a genetic composition, okay, of an organism and is represented in the information that is present in the gene's alleles. In other words, I don't know, okay, if I've got brown eyes, I don't know if I've got brown eyes and that's it, or do I have brown eyes and green eyes behind it? So therefore, my genotype will be brown eyes and green eyes. But my phenotype, my physical feature is brown eyes, what I can see. Okay, so let's see. This is the physical appearance of an individual, e.g., what you will see when you look at the offspring. That's physical. Okay, don't forget it. Physical, very, very important. It's your genotype, your genes inside that you don't see. Phenotype, your physical features. Right, you need a break, I need a break. I'll see you straight afterwards. Welcome back. Now we're going to have a look at this fantastic man, Mendel, right? Because he's the guy that started all of this, right? So let's have a look. Mendels Law. Okay, I'm going to look at the pictures. I'm going to forget about his law there. There he is. Forget about what you see. Just have a look at his face, right? This guy, he spent his life busy having a look at things. And he went and he took peas. You know peas, your normal peas, pea plants and that. Okay, and he had two different types. He had these tall peas, and well, the plant itself, and he had very short peas, and he kept them separate. And he always mated, or the small peas always went through mating or pollination and all of that with each other, and the same with the tall peas. And he thought to himself, you know what? How come these are always making small? How come these are always making tall? Okay, and then he got to the thing where he took a plant, he took a small one, a short plant, and he took a tall plant, and he mixed them together. And while doing that, what he did was he discovered that, but by looking at it, and he kept these separate, he did it physically. So he took the pollen from the one and put it on the female of the other one, right? And that plant that came out there, those seeds that came out there, he planted those seeds, and he kept it separate from everyone else, and he looked what happened. Okay, and he did it a couple of times. Remember, when we do experiments, we do it a lot of times over and over again. Okay, so he found out the following while doing this. Okay, Mendels Law, the law of dominance and segregation. Okay, this is when two individuals contrasting homozygous, so in other words, purebreds. When we say purebreds, remember I was telling you about homozygous, meaning brown and brown, okay? When they talk about purebreds, they're talking about brown and brown. So you get a purebred brown cow, means it was brown and brown. If I talk about a heterozygous cow, it's brown and white, even though I see brown. Okay, it sounds a bit confusing, but we'll get there, I promise. Okay, so let's see. The characters are crossed. The individual of the F1 hybrid generation will resemble the parents, okay, will resemble the parents, and that's the only one, and that is the dominant characteristic. So what I'm trying to say is, he took the short plant and he took the tall plant, right, and he made them, he sexually mated them, right, and you ended off with the seeds, and he planted these seeds, and every single seed that came from that plant, that was from the small plant and the big plant, every one that he planted came out tall. Which means, which is the dominant trait? The tall plant. Did we see any short plants? No. But then what he did, he got clever. And he took those tall plants that he mated. So he took the small one and the tall one, and he mated them together, and he got seeds, and he planted those seeds. And those plants that grew up there, he mated those plants together. And as he mated those plants, and he planted those ones, he found out, ooh, now we have a short plant and we have tall plants. That means the short just can't arrive. It's got to be carried from the parents. Okay, so let's have a look at this. What he got was he took two plants. And I want you to remember this very carefully. And I'm going to use white here for 2 seconds. This here is the the P1, let me just write it nicely, the P1 generation. P1 meaning parents 1. Okay, the F1 is the offspring, and then you get the F2, which is the second set of parents. So what happened was he took 2 plants, there they are, 2 of them, and he mated. And when he mated them, he got seeds, and he planted the seeds, and out popped the offspring, which is the F1 generation, and they were all tall. In this case, he took a red flower and a white flower, and every single flower that came out from that cross gave you a red flower. Right. Then what he did, he took the F1 generation, or the offspring, and he mated them together. And out came, if you have a look at this, 3 red flowers and 1 white flower. Okay, now that's what he's saying. He's saying that dominancy and everything gets passed on through generations, okay? And something that I haven't put on here, and I had to put it so that I can explain it to you. The F1 generation means parent 1. The parent 1 gives offspring. When the offspring become parents, they're the second set of parents. So your F1 to make the F2 become P2s. So think about it. Your mom and dad, okay? Your mom and dad, P1 generation. They made you. You are the F1 generation. Then when you get married one day, you become P2. You're the second set of parents, and your babies become F2. And that's why your mother and father are their grandparents. Can you understand? That's quite cool, hey? So that is Mendel's first law. It's a beautiful law, and it's very easy, okay? His next law that I want to talk to you about, his next law is very strange. There he is again, very clever, and now he's going to actually do things that's going to make it a bit more difficult, okay? Because the first one is actually quite easy. The second one, let's have a look at it. When 2 or more characters are inherited, and individual inheritance factors associated independently during the gamete production. No, that doesn't sound, let me read it for you first, and then I'm going to explain it to you again. Giving different traits and an equal opportunity of occurring together. So, put it this way. If I looked, which I was looking, if I took cows and I just look at their color, okay, they can say, if I took a white cow and a black cow and I made them together, out's going to come either black cows or white cows or black and white cow. Okay, that's what he's saying. So it's one trait. It's just color. Okay, but if you take two traits, two things, so example, color and the size of a horn, okay, that means that I can have a white cow with a long horn, I can have a white cow with a short horn, I can have a black cow with a long horn, and I can have a black cow with a short horn. Okay, there's lots of different traits. Okay, and it's very important that you understand, and I know you're all looking at that. That is just phenotype. Genotype becomes so complex, right, that there's 16 different things. 16. The first one, there was only 4. Remember, you are the black, you are the white, you are the black with a bit of white behind you. Okay, so there's 3 different ones. Okay, that is the whole thing. Mendel was so important. Now, if we have a look at what's going on here, okay, he took, I'm going to grab white again so we can see it. He took these 2 and he mated them. Okay, now out came, if you have a look at it, that one is the same over there. Can you see it? Okay, can you see the green has got those little speckles on them, right? Now you get the little speckles on the yellow color, plus you will get the green that looks nice and smooth because it's getting the smooth from that one, plus you can get a green with speckles. Okay? It just becomes so complicated. Now, Mendel, he made sure that this happened. This wasn't just a simple little, let's try this out. He did this so many times. Because remember, the more you do, the more your findings become accurate. So what he did, right, was he stuck to individual things. So he looked at one trait, for instance. He went to one trait and he mated them over and over and over and over and over again. And when he thought he was done, he did it again, right, to prove all his findings. Then he gathered all his findings and he put them together. And once they together, then he came to his conclusion, right? When he did that one, then he decided, okay, now I'm going to take the tall plant with a pink flower. So now there's 2 different traits. It's tall and there's a color flower in it. And he put them together. And when he did that, he did it over and over and over and over again. And when he thought he was finished, he did it again. Okay? Because the more you do it, the better. And that's what made his findings so important, is that he made sure that he didn't go too wide. Okay? And he made sure that he did it over again so that everybody could understand it. Okay? Mendel was very good. So you need these 2 traits. Very, very, very important. Okay? Now, what I've got for you is I've got a couple of questions. Okay? And here we go. The questions that I'm giving to, I'm going to change the color pen, right? The question is, what were the 2 factors responsible for Mendel's success? Ooh, that's a nice one. Next one, what is hereditary? Next one, what are gametes? The last one, why are gametes described as being haploid? Okay, I'm going to give you 2 minutes for those, okay? Because I know you can do this, and it's very simple because I've spoken about it. So make sure that you remember. Don't ask your buddy, okay? Buddy can't help you in a test. This is where you learn. If you ask your friend for it now, then you're going to think, oh, I'm smart, but if you do it by yourself and get it wrong, at least you'll learn something. So make sure that you don't ask and don't cheat. Okay? Okay, off you go. Welcome back. Let's have a look at what you got. Hopefully, you listened to me and you didn't ask your buddy, right? And you've worked through these and you understand them. Okay, firstly, what are the 2 factors responsible for Mendel's success? Okay, first one. Let me get there. First one. We've got Mendel concentrated on one or few characteristics at a time. Remember I said to you, he stuck with one. He stuck with the pink, or the pink flower, or the tall plant, only the tall plant, or only the pink flower. And he worked with that for a long time. And then when he did that, he made controlled crosses and kept careful numerical records or results. Remember I said to you, he kept doing it over and over and over. And when he got all his results, then he came to his conclusion. Okay, that was the one. Next one, and I know you guys got this. I'm not even worried about this. This is simple. Okay, what is hereditary? Now, let's see. It is passing on of characteristics from parent to offspring. Okay, that is something that you pass on. So, eye color, hair color. Okay, you inherited from your parents, and that's where you go. Your inheritance comes from. Okay, it's passed down from generation to generation. Okay, next one was, what is a gamete? Now, this you shouldn't have worried about. This should have come easy to you because we did this earlier in an earlier section, right? And let's have a look at it. It's sex cells, the reproductive cells having haploid number of chromosomes. Okay, it is the haploid number of chromosomes. Very, very, very important. And then, of course, your next question, it's there again. Why are gametes described as being haploid? Come on, there we go. And it is haploid. Main reason, half the normal number of chromosomes. Now, understand this very carefully. If I get an eye color from my mom and an eye color from my dad, right? I have 2 sets, right? So now I've got 2 sets in every single cell of my body. But when I make a sperm cell, I should separate them, okay? So that one goes into this sperm cell, one goes into that sperm cell. If that didn't happen, right? Let's just say if that didn't happen, they stayed together. I'm going to put 2 of them in a sperm cell, and they're going to swim, and now they're going to get to an egg cell. And how many will they have if 2 stayed in the cell? Now I'll have 4 and not 2. I'll have 2 from my mom, 2 from my dad. Not good at all. And it's so bad that when what do you call it? When it comes together, I'll show you some diseases that's going to happen, disorders, right? And it actually is very, very bad just by having 1 extra, right? So you need a break. I need a break. I'll catch you straight after this. Welcome back. I did promise you we're going to have a look at some diseases, right? The first one we're going to have a look at is your Down syndrome or trisomal 21. Trisomal means 3. So in other words, one of the parents, either mom or dad, the chromosomes didn't split. So what happens? It's caused by the things not splitting, the characteristics not splitting. The third party chromosome, number 21, typically associated with physical growth delay, okay? Characteristic facial features, you can notice it immediately, right? And a mild or moderate intellectual disability. In other words, they're not as intelligent, okay? And it becomes bad. They go to a different school as well, okay? Another one, the extra chromosome occurs by random choice, okay? There is no behavior or environmental factors that changes the risk. In other words, there's nothing that the environment does to change it. It just happens. Okay, so this is the first one, your Down syndrome child. And which chromosome is it found on? Number 21. I want you to remember that. Number 21 chromosome is Down syndrome. Next one. Okay, the next one is your Turner syndrome. Okay, genetic inheritance disorder. It's your Turner syndrome. And the Turner syndrome, also known as, and I can never say this, Ulrich Turner, or the syndrome gonadal dysgenesis. I can never say them. And you know me, I cannot say some of these words, right? And it happens, it's 45 X's. Now, if you think about it, how many chromosomes do we have, right? We have 23 pairs, or we have 46 chromosomes. How many chromosomes are here? There is 25. There's one missing, okay? And if we have a look at it, the one that's normally missing, okay, in which a female is partly or completely missing an X chromosome. Now, you've learned about males are X and Y. This female has either an X and missing some of the X, or just one X, which means something's missing, okay? And here it is. It's often short-webbed neck, low-set ears, okay, low hairline at the back of the neck, short stature, and no, I know I'm short, but it's not me, okay? Next one, it is swollen hands and feet, and this is seen straight at birth, so they can notice this at birth already, right? Typically, they are without menstrual periods. In other words, they don't menstruate. You know what that is. I know you do, okay? Do not develop breasts. I'm going to bring this down. Do not develop breasts and are unable to have children. Remember, they don't menstruate, so they're not going to go through the menstrual cycle, so they cannot make children. Okay, next one. Turner syndrome is not unusually inherited from a person's parents. Okay, no environmental risks are known, and the mother's age does not play a role in Turner syndrome due to the chromosomal abnormality in which all of the parts of one of the X chromosome is missing. So in other words, it doesn't matter how old you are. Turner syndrome has got nothing to do with your age. Turner syndrome's got nothing to do with your age. Where your what was the other one that we did? I'm trying to think. Let's go back. See, you always got to remember your Down syndrome. That's the one I'm talking about. Down syndrome normally has got to do with age a bit. Okay. Now, the next one that I want to speak to you about. Okay, here's another one. It is your Klinefelter. Now, the Klinefelter disease, it is known as 46XXY or just XXY. Okay. Now we know that females are XX and males are XY. Okay. Now what's happened here is the females one egg, okay, or the males, the X stayed behind. So which means they're going to have two X's and a Y. Okay. And here we go. The symptoms result in 2 or more X chromosomes in the male. The primary feature is sterility, which means they cannot have kids. Okay, there we go. Often symptoms may be, often the symptoms of the people are not shown. They don't actually, these children actually don't survive very long. They stay, they as they're born, they actually die. Okay, I think that the ones that have lasted the longest is about 2 years, max. Okay, so these are very weak. And if we have a look at it, they include weak muscles, great height, poor condition, less body hair, small genitalia, breasts grow, and less interested in sex. In other words, they don't want to have it. Okay, this is not a very nice one. Okay, now these are the 3 that you have to know. Okay, it's an extra chromosome on the sex chromosome. It's a chromosome missing, and there's an extra chromosome on number 21. Those are the 3 that we need. Okay, now, if I look at this, this is a very important thing. This is called, there we go, your karyotype. The diagram below represents the karyotype of a human cell. In other words, the genes that we have. Now have a look at this. There is, if we have a look at, there's 1 from your mom, 1 from your dad. Can you see it? 1 from your mom, 1 from your dad. 1 from your mom, 1 from your dad. And how many sets are there? 23 pairs of chromosomes. 23 pairs. And if you count them, that means there's 46. Okay? So we know that that's human. So let's have a look at a couple of questions. How many chromosomes are present in this karyotype? Let's have a look. How many are present in this karyotype? Keep that in mind. Next one. Is this karyotype of a male or a female in Y. The next one, describe how the karyotype of a person with Down syndrome will be different from the karyotype shown in the diagram above. Okay, so let's have a look. I'm going to go back to that, yeah, and I'm going to put that up. And the first one was, if you can remember, how many chromosomes are there? Okay, the next one was, how many, is this male or female? And the last one was, how would this be different to the person if they had Down syndrome? I'm going to give you 1 minute. You ready? Off you go. Cool. So let's have a look what we have here. There it is again. Okay. And let's have a look. First one, it's got 46 chromosomes or 23 pairs. You got that very easily. It's a man because it has, let's go back. Do these look the same? No. One's an X and one's a Y. X chromosome is much bigger than the Y chromosome. Okay. Next, there it is. It's a Y chromosome on the 23rd pair. The next one, does this karyotype person have Down syndrome? No, it does not. And why not? Because it doesn't have an extra chromosome on chromosome pair number 23. If this child was Down syndrome, on the 23rd chromosome, there would be another X there. Okay, you'll see it immediately. Trust me. Okay, next one. There it is. Have a look at this. The diagram below represents a karyotype of two humans, A and B. There's A and there's B. There we go. Now, let's see. First one, explain what a karyotype is. Next one, which individual A or B is male? Give a reason. Okay. Name the genetic disorder that this individual has, and then explain how the abnormal chromosome number of this disorder named 3 occurrence. So now what I'm going to do is, instead of giving you the break, I'm going to go through it because it's very important that you know these. Firstly, have a look. Okay. Look at this one. Look at number B. 21. Can you see it? Okay. It's got 21. It's got 3. So we know it's Down syndrome, first of all. Okay. I'll come back to that now in 2 seconds. Here we go. First question was, explain what a karyotype is. It is a term to use to complete set of chromosomes in a species or an individual organism. Okay. Next question. Which individual, A or B, is male? Give a reason for your answer. Watch here. How many chromosomes are there? Oh, come on. How many chromosomes are there? 22. Look at that. 22. So is it male or female? Come on. It's none. You cannot tell. I've left out chromosomes. Don't let them trick you. You're going to look like that's 2 X's or 2 Y's or whatever you think. Okay? It is not. Remember, there is 23 pairs of chromosomes. So you cannot tell. There is no 6 chromosomes. So therefore, pair number 23 is not visible. Okay, next one. Name the genetic disorder that the individual has, number B. And remember, we said there was an extra chromosome on number 21, which means that person has Down syndrome. Okay, and it says explain how the abnormal chromosome number of this disorder named in 3 occurs. It is an incomplete separation of chromosome in the metaphase of meiosis 1. Can you remember that? Okay, got to remember, things come together all the time. Okay, now, here it is again, still the same, A and B, no different pictures. Okay, give an example where duplication of chromosome number does not lead to genetic disorder. Ooh, that's a nice one. I like that one. We do use it. Next one, name the phenomenon referred in 5. Okay, next one, the risk of having children with Down syndrome increases greatly if the mother is over 40. Statistically shown that 80% of causes in this disorder occurs in mothers under 35 in the USA. Explain why. Okay, now I'm going to go through this with you. These are 2 good questions. Okay, here we go. And you must concentrate because it's very important. I've done it again. There it is. Remember, it's exactly, you've seen them. There's the disorder, which is Down syndrome. Let's have a look at it. When we have a look in wheat, there's the order, wheat. In wheat, remember, we genetically modify things. So if we have an extra chromosome for wheat, it's bigger, it's sweeter, right? So we use it, and plants use it all the time. And this phenomenon, if you have a look down, is called polyploidy, okay? Big words that you have to remember. And then lastly, it says there that you have a higher risk, and you've got to understand this carefully, you have a higher risk of getting Down syndrome if you're over 40. But it's saying that 80% or more, 80% Down syndrome kids come from people under 35. Why do you think that is? Okay, think about it a little bit. Well, it's very, very simple. Okay, if 40-year-olds are not having children, and 35-year-olds are having more children. Let's say 35-year-olds have 6,000 kids, right? But 40-year-olds only have 10 kids, right? What happens? You got more chance of having Down syndrome in that. So let's have a look. Most women have their babies and they're under the age of 40. Therefore, the larger number of babies with Down syndrome are born for women under 35. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm sure I'll see you soon. Cheers.